Hello world! Did you know? Not knowing how to use signals in Godot is equal to not knowing how to use a messaging service on your telephone. The telephone would become quite useless, right? But don't worry, I got you. I will cover for you all the basics that you need as a beginner in Godot to pass around the signals around all of your scenes. We are going to concentrate on how we connect a signal through the editor using an inbuilt signal from a node and connect these via code without using the editor. And last but not least, we are going to see how we can create a customized signal and how we can connect it to a scene that is not the scene that we're currently looking at. I will try to keep this one as concise as possible. For that reason, I already prepared a background and a player with a health bar that we are going to add some buttons to increase and decrease its health. So let's jump into the player itself first. And we're going to add now the two buttons to him so that we can increase and decrease the health. First, we need to find the button. And the first one we're going to call decrease health. Great. Then we're going to drag this one out here and give it a little bit of a shape and drag it to the left. And then we're going to duplicate this one. And to duplicate, we're going to drag it to the right and we rename it to increase health. We give it the text. So just can copy, paste it in here. And here we're doing the same. Increase health. Awesome. If we play the scene now, you can see that we have two buttons that are interacting with us, but they are not doing anything. They are not connected to anything, and there's no logic forwarding this click that they're receiving to a character or to our health bar. If we go back to the inspector and we click on our button, here up in the right corner where it says inspector, there's a little tab that is called node, and it has a list of all the already inbuilt signals that this node has. If we double click on one and we want to click the event when the button is pressed, a little pop-up appears that will help us connect the signal to literally any node that we have inside our scene tree, but note that it needs a script or we can't attach it to. In the script that the node has, it is automatically going to put a function in which has the naming convention of the name of our node. So this is the decrease health node and the signal that we're going to connect, which is the signal pressed. If we click connect, our player script is going to open up and he has automatically created this on decrease health pressed function. And we can already start messing with it. We take our player health value and decrease it by 10. This will not show any effect unless we also update the information in our health bar. Let's do that real quick. The new value, so the new value that we're going to have inside the health bar is the player's health. And also we need to update the text on top of the health bar, and that's already it. So if we start now the scene, we will see that we can decrease the health of the player. Obviously the increase function is not in here yet. That we will do now. But instead of using the editor and connecting this pressed signal to a node, what we will do is connect it via a code. And that is easy if you have the node at hand. You can simply drag and drop it in here and you can find the signal pressed. So you would first find a signal and then you write connect. So that is what you wanted to connect to. We will need here a function to connect to. This one here was auto-generated for us. Now we will have to generate the node that we want to connect it to by ourselves. We will just copy and we will just make minor changes. So this one is called on increase health pressed, and we want to increase the health. And we grab the name of this function and feed it into the connection up here. So it does know I take my node, I take the signal that this node has, and then we pass it and feed it to which function in our code should this signal connect to. And if we play the scene now, we will see that we can decrease the health and we can increase the health. Awesome. Now for the next thing that I want to do, I have prepared a little UI element on a different scene tree that is called UI. And I want to toggle this hurt screen whenever my health is below 50%. We will first add this to our main scene tree so that the UI is sitting in here. But how can I tell my UI and the script in here that my player is below 50% of health? We are going to do that through a signal in which we are going to pass the variables of our player's health and of the health bar so that we can check if we are below 50%. But first, let's create the custom signal for our player. Declaring a signal is as easy as writing out the signal keyword and giving it a name, in my case, critical health. And you can see on the right side, critical health indeed popped up. Now we want to emit the signal when we decreased our health below 50%. So let's write that quickly out. If my player health is below, smaller or equal to whatever my health bar max value is, not sure why it's not auto-completing, divided by 2, so that is half my health, I will emit the signal. Emit signal. There's different ways to emit signals. You can either do this and define the signal that you want to emit, which is going to be critical health. And then you can pass in the variables that you want to emit together with it. So in my case, player health and the health bar max value. Let's copy that in real quick. And that is why it did not autocomplete. I have made a mistake in here. Wonderful. The other way is to simply write out the signal's name and then write the dot emit with some parentheses, and we can then put in here what our variables are that we want to pass in. Both things work just fine. It depends on how you want to use it. I tend to use this notation, so I will go with it. Now we are emitting a signal, but how can we tell the UI script to receive this signal? So two things that we can do here. But first of all, I need to tell you that from this player, we cannot access the UI, and from the UI, we cannot access the scene of the player unless they are in the same scene tree, which is in our main tree where we have both residing in. And here we can just apply the same logic basically that we did when connecting our signals in the player scene. We have the critical health that we can double click and we can just connect it to our UI. But we can also go into the script of the UI and on the ready function, simply drag in our player and say we want the critical health signal, which he's already auto-completing because he knows that it exists, and connect this to whichever function we want to connect it to. And we call this toggle overlay. And in this function, we are receiving two parameters that we said before, which, right? So we emit them here, we emit the player health, and we emit the max value. Might as well just copy, paste them in here. Though we need to erase this, we just give it a value, which is going to be max value. We can give already this function name into our connection, and we will write in our logic. So if player health is below or equal to the max value divided by 2, then we will take our hurt frame and toggle the visibility, setting it to true. Else we will toggle it to false if we are above that 50% of health. And having done all this, it should work. So let's try that out again. We are below 50. We're above 50. Really, really great stuff. So remember what we've done here. We have in our player script declared our own signal, and we are emitting the signal based on some logic, which is if we are below 50% of health, and we relay the signal script to our UI script. In order to do so, please remember that you have to establish a connection in a scene tree where both of them are present. You could potentially relay signals that are sitting on other scripts to your player, and then from the player who is sitting in the main scene, bring it into other nodes, and from the other nodes, then trickle it down again, the scene tree that they have there. This is the architecture that I would encourage you to use in the beginning. There are more options, they are more advanced. They are, for example, singletons, or there are event buses and stuff like that. But for the time being, with the content of this video and with your first month of Godot, you will be perfectly fine using this as is. If you found the video helpful, help others find it by tickling this thumbs up button and leave an emote of your choice in the comment section below. In the description, you will find links to other helpful videos such as areas and movement in Godot. And if you have some specific questions yourself, you can write them in this comment section as well, and I will try to cover them for you as best as I can. Thank you for watching, much love, and ciao ciao.